on stars, but born to fly. Yeah, I've been searching, crawling, looking for a way out. I've been hurting, falling, but I think I found my way now. I'm on my own, far from home, lost in space, in my zone. I found these truths, far from you, in my space, in a stellar mood. Yeah, I finally got my mind right again. Did it all in spite of the hate. Every time they said that I can't. Nebula, they run through my veins. Every molecule in the strands. Senses feeling some kind of strange. Damn, I think my name's Spider-Man. Jump out the window and swing for the dreams that just might be. Never gonna let go. No, to the man in the mirror look like me. Drifting through the cosmos, whoa, far away from your lies. I realigned all my goals. That's a constellation of mine. Yeah, I've been searching, crawling, looking for a way out. I've been hurting, falling, but I think I found my way now. I'm on my own, far from home, lost in space, in my zone. I found these truths, far from you, in my space, in a stellar mood.
Situation that don't happen often. I mean, it's involving something that's scalding. Hot the topic is, it needs some resolving. It's kinda puzzling, took time solving. But after I thought about it, sent her to Walgreens to pick up a few things to stop me from stalling. Otherwise, I'ma be blunt and she gon' be bawling. And I don't need that, or her brother calling. Talking them fight words, now we gon' be brawling. I'm more of a stand-up, I don't be falling. For that okie doke, it's better dissolving. Call me a nice guy, yeah, I like nice things. It's best to stay away from chicks that's trifling. I'm not a rival, so I don't be rivaling. But end up in this scene, I won't be wifing, you know?
Avoid a quick fail, take heed to this wise tale.
If you feel me like Brill, take heed to this wise tale.
Whether male or female, take heed to this wise tale.
Outside or in jail, take heed to this wise tale.
She got a secret, don't know where she keep it, don't know why she hide it, guess it's convenient. She like a zebra, two things at one time. It ain't black and white when you lived it a lifetime. She got a story, might be a fable, no categories. She don't like labels, she like a loner. Maybe she's selfish, something is fishy, but she don't like shellfish. She say that her phone broke and she need a new phone. She got a night job, now she got two phones, one for the pubic, one for the public. I Freudian slip, y'all, I did that you dug it. She got a curfew, she live in the group home, but she in Miami, getting her look on. She can't be truthful, not what she built for. Mouth might be useful, but nothing to kill for, you know?
Avoid a quick fail, take heed to this wise tale.
If you feel me like Braille, take heed to this wise tale.
Whether male or female, take heed to this wise tale.
Outside or in jail, take heed to this wise tale.
Kris the Critic Relationship Hour with Gina B. Why you are not married. Number one, you ain't all that. I know that's hard for y'all to swallow. I don't look as good as my 22-year-old self. People need to realize that. You just ain't all that. And I get it. I got this master's degree. I went to this school, that school. I worked hard for this job, for this house. And then she over there got that man, and you don't have one. Men are very simple creatures. So, ladies, for you very accomplished ladies, I got some advice for them.
What's that?
I always say it like this. You can write this one down. Be a kitten, not a cat. What does that mean, Kris?
What does that mean?
You ever played with a kitten? It's real friendly. It almost acts like a puppy. And you want to play with it. You want to look at the little kitty. It just makes you feel good. Now, have you ever seen an adult cat? When it feels like it, it might rub against your leg and move away. But is that men like kittens?
Kittens will play with anybody. A cat is particular.
Listen, what did we learn? Men are very simple creatures.
Right.
You can fool us. We want you to laugh at our dumb jokes. So all you super smart women out there, you good looking women, you see a guy you like, you guys do make it out on a date. He actually pays for the date. When you're actually with that person, the dialogue is happening, the dinner is happening. You say, okay, this might work, this might work. It would help if you act a little blind.
Oh my God, Becky.
I mean, you're going to hear me say that a lot. I mean, be nice to him. You hear the worst joke ever. But if you sort of like them, laugh at it. There you go. Hey, it's a lot of married women out there. If we got any married women chiming in. If I'm telling a lie.
That one's a fake laugh.
Let me know. Right.
What you're saying is that we should cater to the male ego, and that's what's ultimately going to get us married.
I'm first saying recognize that I think some of us, more women than men, look in the mirror. You ever seen a little lion look in the mirror and see somebody real big? They see somebody a little more fine than what they are. And I'm not calling anybody ugly, so I'm not here to bash anybody.
Let's look at Middle America, okay? Middle America is not attractive.
They're not?
Middle America is largely married.
Okay, I think we're on the same page then. People sort of, we get stuck to reality shows sometime and think we're supposed to have, I got a degree in a house, so I'm supposed to have Idris Elba or his twin.
Well, I mean, have you noticed, so you remember your friends from high school, right? And you remember how they had all of these qualifications for, if she's going to lock me down, she got to be this, that. She's got to have an ass like that.
That's all we really looked at. Stop right there. That's really what are men? Simple creatures. We want to be fed. We want you to laugh at us, give us some, and that's it. Together.
I'm feeling good, y'all. Smiling more every day. Closer to my dreams. Hey, guapole. The food tastes better. I stopped smoking squares. Healing from the inside out. Making repairs. I forgave some people. Thanked them for the lessons. Cause holding on to it was
Hello, beautiful people. You are here with us today, August 13th, on the Kris and Gina Relationship Show. Now, this is, you see all the women up here, right? Peculiar show. We don't have Kris with us tonight. We miss him dearly. Kris, hopefully you can tune in. But we do have a fun show for you. And I'm going to, in the spirit of Kris, what I'm going to talk about first are the National Day. I love the National Day, right? And today, I'm not going to be as good at this as Kris is. Kris is usually really quick with this. But today is National Left-Handers Day. You're left-handed.
I'm a lefty.
Yep. I am ambidextrous. I'm right dominant, though. My father is a left-handed. Are you right?
I am not.
Okay, we're going to introduce these lovely ladies in a second. It's also National Filet Mignon Day, and it's National Prosecco Day, which is fitting because shout out to my girl Eve Bridgeforth because she's celebrating her birthday, and sparkling is one of her jams, and so good for her. And then it's also Women's and Family Day, so that could feed into one of the themes of our show, Women and Family, since we are all women and we're talking about family. So today's topic is dating after divorce. On my right, I have Ms. Tina Moore as our guest, and on my left, I have Ms. Charisse Carter, and they're going to be chiming in with their perspectives on how to date after divorce, who you should date after you get divorced, how you go about dating after you get divorced. I mean, like we're gonna run the gamut. So first of all, I'm gonna start with my right. Tina.
Yes.
Are you a Chicagoan? Tell us about yourself.
Born and raised here on the South Side. Went to Beasley for grammar school. Went to Luther South for high school.
She's gonna give us the whole run.
With DePaul. So yeah, I am also recently. My other life, I was an event planner, and now I am a pre-licensed therapist.
Okay. So you know of what you speak. You've got some clinical training. Okay, we're going to get into that in a second. And you're divorced.
I am. I've been divorced 14 years.
14 years. Okay,
Yes.
so you know of what you speak there as well.
Yes.
Wonderful. And to my left, we have Sharice Carter. Sharice and I were recently on the Black Women's Expo panel. We had a relationship panel with Kris and Brian Foster moderated. That was fun. Sharice, tell us a little bit about yourself. And
So-
speak into the mic, please.
So I am Sharice Carter. I am a certified divorce coach and a life coach. I was born and raised in Chicago. I attended Academy of Our Lady High School and graduated from Grambling State University.
Ooh, okay, girl. All right, wonderful.
And
Well,
I've been divorced for 16 years.
You've been divorced 16 years. Okay, so both of you have been divorced in the teens of years. Okay, great. I'm Gina B. In case you guys didn't figure that one out yet. I am recently married. And so I will be looking to you two for maybe ways to not get divorced. So we'll get into that later on in the show. So, okay. So now, Tina, let's talk about you first. Tell me, first of all, how long had you been married before you decided to get divorced?
Ooh, we were not married very long.
Uh-oh.
We were not married very long. We were probably married 3 years, but we have been together for probably about 6 or 7 before that.
Okay. And so you've been together 10 years altogether. You
Yeah.
didn't see that coming, huh?
There were signs.
Okay.
At that point, I don't think we were mid-30s maybe. I don't think either one of us knew how to be a husband or wife at
Okay.
that point.
Okay.
I think that was probably our major thing. Neither one of us had a really solid knowledge of what that was supposed to look like.
Okay. Well, it happens. And so you were good at dating, but not necessarily
Right.
the marriage thing.
Yeah.
Oh, it happens. And then you had 2 kids together.
Yes.
And
We have a bonus child.
and you have a
Yes.
bonus child who was his child from a
Yes.
previous relationship.
Relationship,
Okay,
yeah.
cool. And then you got divorced.
Yes.
And Sharice, tell us about your situation. How?
So we were married for 8 years.
Okay.
We were together total 10 years.
Okay.
And it was totally unexpected. Did not want to get a divorce, but things occurred in the marriage that I could no longer tolerate.
Okay. That's fair.
So it was devastating,
Yeah.
but I was able to manage and take things in stride, especially with 2 small children. It was really hard for me to buckle down, go in the corner and ball up and cry. I couldn't do that because I had 2 kids to raise.
Yeah.
Now tell me, how old were your kids when you got divorced?
Well, when I was divorced, when I started, they were 5 and 3. Our divorce was finalized when our daughter was 7 and our son was 5. So it took like 2 years.
Does it normally, how long does it usually take to get divorced?
It depends. If
Yeah.
you have property,
Right. Assets.
If you have children,
Yeah.
if you can't agree, a lot could come into play. Like for instance, I could want full custody, but the other parent could want joint custody.
Okay.
You
So
know.
you're fighting about that.
So you're fighting about
Okay.
that. You're fighting about, okay, I want half of your pension.
Right.
I want half of the house, or I don't want you to have anything in regards to that. It's a lot.
Yeah. So if everything goes smoothly, can it be done in less than a year?
Yes.
Yes.
Mine was less than a year.
Yours was less than a year. Okay. So you did not have a contentious divorce.
No.
Okay.
No, we just there was a short period of time where we were on the same page about visitation, but that was we figured that out within a month, maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's, okay. So did you have 50-50? Or did you
Not
have
quite?
pretty
So we agreed to, during the school year, he would get them once a week and every other weekend.
Uh-huh.
And then in the summer, we would flip that.
Oh, okay.
So
okay.
he would have them a majority of the time during the summer.
And then you would have hot girl summer.
Right.
You're like, okay, yeah, come get these kids.
Yeah.
So that mama can get her
Yes.
play on. it's time for the Chicago scene parties.
Right, exactly.
In the play lot. Okay, so you were free to do all of that.
Right.
And that was not something that he agreed upon in the beginning, or that was where you had to work yourselves into that?
We
have a
had
little
to
bit of
work
shared
ourselves
difficulty.
into that because initially he wanted 1 week off, 1 week on, and I was like, you don't keep up with schoolwork enough.
Okay.
So no, and then he was like, well, I want them every weekend, and I was like, no, you're too social, so that's gonna fall back on me, no. And then he came back with, okay, you keep them during the school year, I'll keep them in the summer. I'll sign it.
Perfect.
Yes,
Okay.
it works.
Very good. That worked out pretty well, I think. Sounds like. Okay, great. And so how about you? Was yours it's so funny. We're playing this chair game with Sheree. She's up, she's down. We're gonna see where she ends up, y'all. What's the over under? Okay. So was yours sounds just from the small description that you just gave sounds like it was a little more contentious than what Tina.
It was because he didn't want the divorce, but he acted as if he did. I mean, his actions were totally different. So he wanted to have joint custody. I said, no, I want sole custody. Because we could not communicate. We couldn't agree on
You wanted
anything.
sole custody.
Yes.
Now explain, what is sole custody?
Sole custody means that I am the primary decision maker. I don't have to go to him in regards to school, health, or anything like that, because we had a contentious relationship where we could not talk to each other.
Okay. So you wanted sole custody. He wanted joint? I'm sorry, is that what you said?
He wanted joint custody.
Okay, and so joint custody would mean 50-50. You have to agree on things.
We would have to agree on school, health, everything.
And that sounded like hell to you.
It was.
Okay, and so, but you settled, though, on
sole.
So you were able to.
Yes.
Okay. So how long did that take to get sole? A long 2 years. You said the divorce took.
Well, keep in mind when we were divorced, we were divorced in Will County.
Okay.
And in Will County, you had to go through a course. It was a parenting course that we had to go through before getting a divorce.
Okay.
And so he never went to that class.
Oh.
And so finally, the day I was divorced, the judge was like, well, he didn't attend these classes, so I can't grant you the divorce. I said, Judge, please.
Yeah, right.
Please. Just
the fact
grant me
that he
the divorce.
didn't attend those classes should show you what we're working with.
Right.
Right. Okay.
So it was pretty much a battle.
Okay. All right. So we were on opposite ends of the spectrum on divorce things.
I'm the extreme.
Right.
Which is why you're coaching now, maybe.
Right, yes.
Okay. And, well, you probably want to show people how to maybe do it so that you're not,
Right. We are actually
blowing some shit up.
My ex-husband and I are actually trying to put together a co-parenting program.
Okay.
So we can teach other people how to co-parent.
Yes, because prior to the show, Tina and I were having this conversation, and she was saying that they managed to put the kids first above their own drama.
Yes.
Was that hard?
It was crazy because it was an unspoken thing between us, and it was just something that we just kind of did instinctively. It's not easy, no. It's not.
Okay.
It's a very humbling experience because we still had our stuff and we still had our issues, and we didn't communicate effectively all the time. So it was a lot of biting my tongue. Is it really worth saying anything? I'm just gonna let that slide. So it was a lot of that, I'm sure, on both ends.
So as far as dating is concerned after divorce, now I've known people who have written clauses into their divorce agreement stating things like specific circumstances, like you can't introduce a person to my kids until I've met them, or until it's there. Maybe you're engaged, or no sleepovers, or a lot of parameters. So, Sheree, starting with you, did you have any of those parameters in place when you got divorced?
We did, but he didn't follow those parameters.
Oh, wow.
Oh, okay. What were your parameters?
So there was to be no overnight guests.
Okay, no overnights.
No overnight guests, and he wasn't supposed to introduce the kids to anyone until he was in a serious relationship Well, soon after, like right after I moved out into my mom's home, he started bringing the kids over to a young lady who he was seeing. And that was like really soon. And my kids came to me asking me,
Mama, who this?
right, well, what's going on? You and Daddy, you guys not together? But Daddy was in the room with so-and-so.
Oh, wow.
Well, your kids didn't know you weren't together?
Well, we had just broke up.
Oh, you guys were just like fresh.
Yeah, we were fresh. And keep in mind, I left my husband like 3 or 4 times before I finally left.
Okay.
So my kids were
Okay.
probably thinking, okay, Mommy and Daddy, they're going to get back together.
Right.
Mommy, she's left before. We're going to be back.
Yeah.
So let's back up on that a little bit so we understand. All right, so while you guys were together, there was a couple times you're like, I can't take it anymore, I'm out. And then he was like, let's get back together, let's try.
I won't do this again. I
Okay.
won't disrespect you. Let's try it again. I love you. And then soon
Back to the
after,
same.
it will be back to the same.
Bad to the same. So you were finally just like, we're done. So the kids were super confused, especially at their very young
Yes.
ages.
Yes.
Okay. All right. And so
Absolutely.
he brought the kids around some rando, and you were like,
I confronted him about it. I said, hey, you can't do this because the kids are being affected by this and they're confused. I'm not bringing them around anyone. I wouldn't dare do that because right now is a very fragile stage. And so soon after that, I started seeing changes in my kids. So we started going to therapy together.
like what? What did you see?
Just like outbursts, just being bad, just really acting out.
Okay. Attention getting.
Attention
things.
getting.
Okay.
My daughter, she just really was like started doing things that wasn't her. Not listening to what I say. My son too. So they were being affected by this, and I was like, wait a minute, I need to get a hold of this. So the 3 of us, we went to counseling.
Okay. Okay. Wait, the 3 of you.
Me and my 2 kids.
Oh, okay. I'm like, I was thinking you, your ex-husband, and
No.
the rando?
No,
Okay.
no,
Just
no.
making sure. Just making
No.
sure. Okay, cool. All right. And so hopefully that was useful for you.
It was.
Okay.
It was. It helped me and it helped the kids tremendously.
Oh, good.
So when you start seeing signs that your kids need help, you need to send them to therapy because it's sometimes people think, oh, they'll work it out, they'll be okay. No, they need to seek help for them because kids, they take things so literally
Personally.
and personally, and they feel like it's their fault.
Yeah.
Okay. And so Tina, explain how did you have any clauses or
No.
anything written in?
We didn't have anything written in. And again, it was another, I feel like, unspoken thing because neither one of us would bring anybody around our kids unless they were serious.
Okay.
That was kind of like.
And
an
define
unsaid-
serious.
Serious, probably for me. Serious was I was dating them for at least a year
Oh, a
before they
year.
could come around my
Okay.
kids.
So a year.
Yeah.
A year, and you were pretty certain that they were gonna be around.
Yeah.
Okay.
So and I only brought 2 people around the kids. He only brought 2 people around the kids. So
Okay.
it was kind of an unsaid thing that we just.
You just didn't. No,
just
okay.
didn't.
Women, how do we navigate this whole like not bringing people around the kids? Because you pretty much have, both of you you were tethered to those kids
Yeah.
like all the time. So how do you actually have a life and date when you got 2 little ones that
can
you
do it.
gotta, do you sneak them in late at night? What happens?
No.
No?
So it was every other weekend,
Yep.
every Wednesday, every other weekend.
Yep.
And then in the summer, I had a little more freedom.
You
We
get
could see him,
you
but
get it in more frequently.
or if it was one of those off days where he picked them up for whatever reason, or
you're like, come on over.
yeah.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had the same scenario too. So when the kids were with their dad, that's when I was able to do the things that I wanted to do. I was able to go out on dates. I was able to have people over. Never did I have anyone in the home when my kids was there. I never snuck anyone in the
Yeah.
house.
Okay.
Because my fear was
Someone gonna wake up.
someone's going to wake up.
Yeah.
And I
Mama.
specifically told my kids, when they were asking questions about their dad, I specifically told them, you will never see a man in my bed unless I'm engaged and we're about to get married soon. You would never walk in my room and see a man in my bed. And I kept that.
Oh, you had to keep that promise, huh? Mm-hmm. How about you? Same kind of such?
There was one point where I was living with a guy, so we moved in together. So,
and that was after how many years?
Ooh, that was after, had to be like 2 or 3 years.
2 or 3. Okay. Oh, okay. And then did the kids meet him right before you were about to move in together, or how did that? Okay, they met him before.
No. So we had been dating for about a year, and they met them at that point, and then maybe a year, a little over a year after that.
Okay, cool. Now, after divorce, not to make this dating after kids, but after divorce, though, is marriage something that you'd want to do again?
Yes.
You would. You would too. Why? What do you like about marriage that would make you want it? Or what? You're not remarried.
No.
Okay, neither one. Okay. What is it that you would? Because some people are like, I've talked to women that are just like, and hell no. Like, I'm divorced and we gonna stay that way, and that was good, and I'm done.
So for me, although my marriage wasn't terrible, it didn't sour me so much so that I'm like, I never want to get married again. I just think that neither one of us was prepared for that role.
Okay.
And now I feel like I am a totally different person than I was 14 years ago. Mm-hmm. And I would make a better partner, spouse today than I did back then. Okay.
You make a difference?
Yeah.
Shout out to my beautiful cousin Renee who's watching. Hey, gorgeous, and Louis Green, and who else do we have? We have a couple. Oh, Claudia. We've got some people that don't always watch Louis Green's, one of our regulars. So chime in with questions, you guys. We're taking them live. So, Charisse, you get married again?
I definitely would, because I've done some self-evaluation, and I know what I desire. I know what I need. I know how to treat and communicate my partner. Whereas before, you go ham, I'll go ham right along with you.
Right.
So I've changed, guys. I've changed.
Right.
But I'm mature. I know how to handle things. I know how to communicate with my partner.
Okay.
I know how to treat my partner.
Yeah.
Okay.
I know how to multiply things for my partner.
Okay.
Yeah.
So with that being said, I have the tools, and I also have the knowledge and the capacity to be a wife.
Right.
Now, what were the biggest lessons you learned from getting divorced about yourself and about how to navigate? Like you said, you just gave a couple things. You learned how to do all these things, but how much work was that for you?
It was a lot of work, because before, I expected people to do the things that I expected them to do. Like, for instance, prime example, growing up, my dad, he would cook for us. He would help us with our homework. He would pick us up from school. Well, I expected my ex-husband to do that. And so I put expectations on him that he knew nothing about.
Okay.
So now I've learned that you have to meet people where they are, and you have to be comfortable with who they are. You can't change anyone. The only person you could change is yourself.
Okay. Very good.
Yeah.
Yeah. How about you, Tina? Anything that you...
So my divorce, because that's something that I never wanted for myself or for my kids. For me, it took me on a journey of, like, I came from a dysfunctional family. I didn't know that until I got married.
Okay. You're like, huh?
And I was like...
And by dysfunctional, you mean?
I mean that I thought everybody's, like, my dad was there, was in the house, but he wasn't present. So, but I didn't know that was a thing.
Right.
Like, I just thought that's
You
how...
thought all dads were checked out.
I didn't
So wait,
know.
when you say he wasn't present, he was checked out from the family?
Yeah, he had his moments where he would engage, but yeah, he was in the house. He lived with us. I grew up with him.
But it's like, don't bother daddy, he's tired.
Well, no, it was more like he was working or he was doing something else. And when he was there, it was just kind of like, I'm here.
Right. Okay.
He had his moments where he would interact, but.
So a lot of passive parenting, basically, on his part.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
And so when you got married.
Yeah, I didn't understand. So I saw my mom do most of the stuff. So I felt a pressure to do all the things.
Okay.
We didn't communicate well. And so my ex-husband and we didn't really communicate well. And I thought my parents didn't communicate well. So I thought that,
That's normal.
That's the way it's supposed
to be. You're like, we good.
Right, exactly. So it sent me on this path, like, why am I like this? Where did I get this stuff from? So I started like going down and saying, okay, I got all this stuff from here. All this stuff came from there. Do I want to keep it? Do I want to change it? Who do I want to be? How do I want to show up? What does a healthy relationship look like? Can I do those things? And the other thing is I didn't have a voice when I was married. Okay. I didn't realize that I didn't have a voice.
And so did you look up one day and realize, or is that something you realized after the divorce?
After.
And you were like,
after.
Huh. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And I didn't have a voice either in my marriage. It was like whatever he said went.
I couldn't argue.
Right.
Because he would be, and I'm like, okay, well, fine.
So if he wanted a red couch in the living room, we got a red couch. If he wanted the wall to be painted, blue, the wall was blue.
Yeah.
So, I agree.
Yeah. So, my husband who's watching is probably like, that isn't Gina's problem. In fact, he chimed in and he says, our parents' generation didn't really communicate at all. It was just the way that generation was brought up where, you just.
Absolutely.
I would say in my household, and I have an older father, but he also has a different kind of my mother had a stronger personality. Mm-hmm. So, if he was the head of the household, she was most certainly the neck. Mm-hmm. And so she was also the money manager. She was also the thing. Yeah. And so, we do end up recreating our households. I'm a person that's always had a pretty strong personality and always, really probably tough. So, honey, hi. So anyway, okay. So now, when you walk away from your marriages and you think, I could get married again, are you looking for, when you go about dating, are you looking for a polar opposite of your ex-husband? Are you looking for somebody who's maybe just about 10 degrees to the right or left? Or like, what is it that you're looking for in your next relationship? Sharice.
I was picking the same type of guy.
Mm-hmm. And why is that? Do you know?
Because I didn't know myself. Okay. I didn't know what I really wanted. So I started picking the same type of guy. And
what type of guy was that? What was your archetype?
So someone who was arrogant, someone who was headstrong, someone who was like everything had to be, all the attention had to be on them. And I could not really be myself. I had to kind of like, I don't want to say bow down, but
shrink.
I had to shrink in order for them to feel comfortable being around me, because if I would have presented myself who I truly was, then they wouldn't like it.
Now, was there something, usually when you pick a type of person to date, that speaks to how you feel about yourself, right? Like, so I always say that, when people say, oh, you just like tall men, it's like, that says more about me than it does about them. Mm-hmm. Like, I like to be smaller than the person because it makes me feel more feminine, right? So if you pick an arrogant guy, it's like, was that something about the dominant personality that did it for you?
So when I was married, and before I was married, I had low self-esteem. And I had issues with my body. Now I weighed 120 pounds. I was like really skinny, but I thought I was fat.
Oh, wow.
So I had self-inflictions because I thought of myself in a way that was negative. But after the divorce, I found strength within myself because I finally realized after the work that I needed to be self-aware of who I am, and I needed to have self-confidence in order to present myself the way I should be presented in a relationship. So there was a lot of work that I had to do internally in order for me to start picking the right people.
Okay, that's fair. That's fair. And so now, have you noticed that you have a shift? And
I do, because I spot BS right away now.
okay, you're like, I know that type. How about you, Tina? What was your archetype versus then versus now?
I think that people that I actually was in a relationship with, there was a gradual progression to, oh, this is a little more of what I need or I'm looking for. Oh, and then the next one was, oh, this feels better. This is a little bit more than the last two, than my marriage, than the last one. So I feel like the guys that I actually had a relationship, they were closer to what I needed or what I was looking for.
Okay.
Now I feel like it's just hard now. It's hard because, and I was having this discussion not too long ago about, it felt like it was a lot easier to date when I was in my 20s.
Oh, well, yeah. There's more people.
Now, well, not only that, but it wasn't even the lack. There's a lack. It's just finding a quality person who has healed or addressed or even acknowledge that there's some hurt or some space or they have some growing to do. Most people are walking around and they don't even acknowledge it.
Correct.
So it's hard in that people have relationship PTSD and aren't doing anything about it. So that's been the hard part. Right. Finding a person where they can acknowledge that.
Now, do you find that most people who have the PTSD but haven't acknowledged it, are they divorced or never been married?
Both.
Yeah.
Both.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because people hurt people.
Right.
Because when you're walking around and you haven't healed, or a lot of times men that were not married and they have PTSD about relationships, they've grew up in a home where they've seen relationships that didn't work. So they're afraid of commitment. They're afraid to say, I love you. They're afraid to settle down with one person. The last two guys that I dated, they said, oh yeah, I want a relationship. I really want to, I want to settle down. But their actions was something else. I was actually at a party, and the guy was there, and another girl showed up at the same party. So I'm like, okay, we're 50 and we're doing this.
Well, yeah, it is amazing.
And the sad
crazy.
The sad thing about it is, it's men in their 60s that's doing it too.
Oh, it doesn't matter how old they are,
right.
you guys. Like, I remember being young and listening to my mom talk to her friends who were divorced about all the bullshit.
Yeah.
And I remember thinking, aren't they adults?
Yeah.
Like, why are they doing that? And I've come to realize that it does not matter how old they are. It's in the character. And if that's their character, they're going to be executing that until they're 70 or whatever it is. So it does not matter. You got, Kay Keys here is like, you got a fan. You got a fan, Tina and Charisse. Awesome. Hi, Kay. Thanks for joining us. So, and then Khalid Scott, of course, is watching because he watches this quite a bit. So just wanted to say hello. I like to interact with the audience intermittently. Okay, when you both, first of all, how long did it take you to get back in the dating scene after the divorce?
Right.
And how did you go about that? You were right after. Like, were you divorced yet? And you were like, I'm dipping my toe in the water.
Nope.
You weren't divorced yet. You were like, okay, I got a situation.
Yep.
This is about to go through.
Yep.
And mama needs a little attention.
Yep.
Is that what it was? And so how did you position your situation?
We were both
You and this person.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. So we were in the same situation.
Oh, okay.
So it just.
Is that easier?
A little, because you have something in common.
Mm-hmm.
So we bonded over what was going on with, his marriage and what was going on with mine, what was going on with our divorces. So it just
gave you things to talk about.
Yeah.
And did that person have children?
Yes.
Was that easier to date somebody with kids if you were divorced with kids?
Yes and no.
Okay. Scheduling, I feel like.
Yes, scheduling was fine. Ultimately, it was kind of the kids that broke us up.
Oh, I can see that.
Because he was, because of his past trauma, he had 2 girls. So he was overly protective of
Was he the
his
guilty
kids.
non-custodial parent?
No, he was.
Oh, okay.
He was overly involved, and so he had his kids all the time, and he was overly he didn't even trust their mother to mother. So that's how severe.
That's a little weird. Okay.
Yeah, that's how severe his anxiety was about who was around his kids. He didn't trust their mother around him.
That's
around
crazy.
His kids. So that ultimately was why we stopped seeing each other.
That could put a damper.
Yeah.
Especially, and because if you kept on, what would that life be like for you?
I don't know.
Because you're like, I'm trying to figure that shit out.
Yeah.
I feel you. How about you? How did you go about it?
It took a while. I'll say maybe 5 or 6 months after our process.
I thought you were going to say years. I was like, wait, hold on.
No.
Months.
5 or 6
Okay.
months,
That's a little
yes.
better. A little better.
But it was hard because when I was married, I never saw another man. I would see guys all the time, but I would never say, "Ooh, he is fine," because my husband was my husband. I never looked at, even on TV, even like actors. I never
You weren't
was
like, damn.
Never.
So you didn't have a list.
No,
Okay.
my thing was, that's my husband. That's who I'm looking at. That's my.
But you
that's
still
my
have
guy.
a list.
Right.
No, I didn't. And it was so weird when I first started dating, because now I'm like, this
You didn't even
feels
have Idris
weird.
Elba on the list?
Right.
Okay.
No.
Girl. Anyway. Okay.
But now I do.
Right.
So, but it was weird because I wasn't looking at other men. It was just like, my husband is my husband.
Your husband was your husband. So then all of a sudden you get out of the relationship, the blinders come off.
Oh
and
my
you were
gosh.
like, oh, it's a whole new world out here?
Whole new world.
Is that what it was?
Whole new world. And I will say this too. Dating taught me things because I was a little wet behind the ears, because I thought men only cheated at night.
Oh, girl.
So I was like, so my
They cheated 2 in the afternoon. If you good.
So my
in the morning.
my ex-husband was my first real relationship.
Oh. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Oh, you had some things to learn.
And so
Yeah.
we started dating at 23.
Oh wow.
Was married at 25. No,
Okay.
I'm sorry. Started dating at 24. Got married at 26. Had our first kid at 27 and our son at 29.
Oh wow.
Lord, you were busy.
Yeah.
So I didn't have a clue. I was just, he was like my first.
Yeah.
Wow. And so then you were just like, game on, like you got divorced.
I'm telling you, I went and got my hair cut short, and I lost like 25 pounds. And I was like, hey, I'm having me a good time. I'm looking good. I was dating, plenty of guys and hanging out with them. And I said, I'm going to have some fun. So I wasn't looking to be married. I was like, I'm in these streets. I'm having fun.
Right.
I'm having a good time. I'm with my girls. Everybody was glad I was, getting a divorce. We had a little party. So it was like, I'm free. I'm free. And that's when I started to learn how men were moving. Like, I didn't know anything about cheating or anything like that. I was just really like, I was wet behind the ears.
All them day parts. So, my husband's being funny. He's like, don't let Boris Kojo walk in a room, because now he also, here's what's interesting. I have been in the room with Boris Kojo twice. That's what a good then girlfriend, now I am. Anyway. So, all right. So my next question though is, how much had dating changed? Like, well, for you,
Yeah,
I mean, you were
completely.
dating.
Yeah.
So that was a 180, 100%, you know, just
Yeah.
total turnaround. How about you, Tina? How had the process changed since you had been out there? Like, were you in a club? Like, were you online? Like, what was?
No. No, at that point I was meeting people like right afterwards. It was meeting people organically.
Okay.
Now, probably closer to 2019-ish, that's when things kind of changed.
Right.
Where
Pre-COVID,
it was
like the year pre-COVID.
Yeah, that's when things kind of changed a little bit, and it was like, what's going on? I wasn't able to meet people organically at that point. And so then I turned to, okay, well, everybody's on dating apps, and that was...
Which is like basically a microcosm of the cesspool that you'll meet in the club, right? Like, yeah. So you're like, wait, I've seen you 4 times. And
across 4 different apps. I mean, but, you know, I can't talk because... Apparently,
right.
I'm on
That's the way you saw them.
Right.
Exactly. So did you meet people? Do you actively do you meet people online right now?
I haven't.
No, I
stopped.
I was online a short period of time because of my sister.
Okay, your sister made you get
My
online.
sister, yes.
Did she write your profile?
Did she what?
Did she write your profile for
No,
you? Okay,
I did.
You did it. Okay.
I did. She said, this is what you need to do. You need to get on here. You need a man, girl. You need to find somebody. And so I went online, and the first time I met this guy, and we met up. Now his profile said that he was 6'1".
That's the biggest lie ever.
He was
5'4".
He said he was 35 years old.
He's 60.
So we meet up at the restaurant, and I'm like, wait a minute, you're not 6'1". He was more like 5'5", 5'4".
Yeah.
And then I said,
How old was he?
and then he didn't look like he was 35. He looked all of, in his 40s.
You're like, hey, Zaddy.
And I said, your profile doesn't match. He said, oh, I didn't write my profile. My brother did.
Your brother knew you were 5'4".
Right.
5'5".
And the second time I went out with a guy, he was, to me, he was weird. He was weird.
In a serial killer kind of way? Like, what kind of weird are we
he
talking
was just
about?
like weird. He was a white guy. He said that he had a daughter with a young lady that was from Africa, and he was raising
He
the
liked
daughter.
black women. I love
And
me
he was
some
just like weird. I just didn't get good vibes. And I was like, okay.
That's
so that was the end of it. But I did, with the last guy, I did a background check.
That's, my husband actually did a background check on me. I was kind of offended later when I found out. I was
But
like,
you know
"Sir."
what? I would suggest if you can't go to someone and get information about someone, you should do a background check.
Oh, I am a 100% proponent of background checking.
Me too.
Like, I don't do anything without a background check. Like, I mean, not everything, but, I don't go to the movies. Like if it's a friend. But, I mean, real talk, like, you will find out some fascinating things
Yes.
about people.
I did a background check on someone, and I was like, oh boy.
You like grand larceny. That's awesome. Yeah.
It was just some stuff, and I was like, no.
Yeah. Especially if you see domestic battery.
Yes.
Like if you go on there, it's worth it to just, if it's a $7 whatever the investment is, it's an investment
Murder,
that you
rape.
should. Yes.
Really? Oh, wow.
You're like, I've learned something. I'll give you some looks, girl.
So,
yeah. So now, are you dating someone now?
I am not dating anyone right now.
She's single. You dating somebody now?
No.
Oh, you're single too. Okay. You haven't had hot girl summers?
No.
No. Unfortunately.
Yeah. It's, well, you know what? I mean, do you find it hard to meet people who have like the same values as you? Like what, because you both your children are grown now, right?
Pretty much.
For
My
the most.
daughter is 17.
Your daughter's 17, so she's on her way out, and your
My
kids are
23 and 21.
Okay, so now you don't have to worry about like
No.
impressionable children.
No.
Okay, so what are your biggest concerns now with dating and just sort of as you look to, hey, this might be somebody that I could marry? Like, what are your?
I would say same values, having the same goals,
Yeah.
being a partner,
Yes.
just
That's
being a good partner.
Yeah.
Because I found that through dating, a lot of people don't know how to communicate.
At all.
Tell me what you want, because if you want to be in the streets, then
Be
let
in the
me know up
streets,
front.
yeah.
Be in the streets. Because I always tell my clients, when you're dating, be upfront and honest about what your desires are. Don't hold back. Don't say, "Oh, I don't want a relationship," and you really do.
Right.
Be honest with yourself and be honest with them.
I agree.
That's good advice. Do
I
you have
agree.
any thoughts on this?
Yeah. I think that I agree with everything. I would add that it's like I said earlier, the hardest thing is finding people that are honest about where they are and any trauma that they're still holding, and any, because that is the biggest thing for me right now. And not so much, because I think values and all those things, goals and all those things, those are probably second and third. I need to know that you know how to be, or you want to be a good partner.
Okay.
And you have the capacity, the emotional capacity to be a good
partner.
Yes.
That's very important.
Yes.
Extremely important. And so, okay. Now, I'm assuming that you both have friends who are single who've just been single this whole time.
Yes.
Now, statistically, so I'm gonna be like Kris right now. Statistically, because Kris always got a stat, and I don't have Kris will pull out a whole list and blah blah blah. But I do know for a fact that people who are divorced have a higher likelihood of getting remarried after a certain age than people who've never been married. And as a coach, why do you think that is, Therese?
But I have to say this too. Second marriages fail a lot as well.
What is it, as high of a percentage as the first marriages? What?
Yes.
So first marriage is 50%.
It's high.
It's high. It's higher.
Yes.
60, 70%. Could
It's
this get
higher.
worse?
It's higher. And I think it's because people are getting married again for the wrong reasons. They're getting married because I don't want to be alone. I don't want to be by myself. And I've met a lot of people like that. They've gotten remarried because I don't want to be alone.
Right.
Or I need the financial stability.
Yeah.
I can't afford all this by myself. So I need to get married again. So I
Right.
can have that extra income. So
Yeah.
people are getting remarried for the wrong reasons.
Interesting. Now, do you think that's a woman thing or a man?
It's both.
Both.
Man.
It's both.
I feel like men get married when they get older because they just need to live with somebody who can get them to the hospital so that when they have a heart
But
attack, they don't die.
I will say this. Men are getting remarried again who are having financial difficulties because everyone knows men are the ones who loses the most in a divorce. Financially.
Yes.
Especially have kids because they have to pay child support. So they're not only taking care of that home, but they also have to live themselves.
But I feel I have run into a lot of men that have gone through that and just are just turned off by divorce.
See, me too. I've met so many men, like never again.
I was at a Super Bowl party and was surrounded by 5 or 6 men that were like, absolutely not, never again in life, not for all the tea in China will I ever get married again. And I was like, I've never seen
because they've been
such
taken.
bitter men.
But I'm saying the ones that are remarrying for financial reasons are marrying because they can't hold it themselves.
Uh-huh.
They need
Yeah.
financial help.
Right.
And I've come across a man who's like, I'm never getting married again.
Yeah.
Some of my girlfriends like, I'm never getting married
Yeah.
again. You couldn't pay me to get married again.
Now, okay, if you guys met, okay, I'll do Tina first. If you met a man
Yes.
who had the capacity to be a partner,
Yes.
was in good shape,
Yes.
had a pretty good job,
Mm-hmm.
but he had been financially devastated by a divorce
Mm-hmm.
and had a lot of financial messiness, would he still be a candidate for you to marry him?
Eventually.
So he'd
We
have to
would-
get through.
Yeah.
Okay. But you would hang
I
in
would-
there with him.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I would hang in there with him. I would not ding him for that.
Okay.
We wouldn't get married right away. I would have to see him actively working towards repairing that
Uh-huh.
and
Okay.
making himself whole again and being responsible while doing it.
Right.
And then but I wouldn't ding him just for that.
Okay, so KK says no. Just so we're clear. She was like, absolutely not.
I
Trace?
agree. I would work with him.
Yeah.
Because if someone they have everything that you need, but that is the only
thing,
factor
yeah.
that's holding you back, I would say, hey babe, let's work on this.
Yeah.
Now we can't get married tomorrow.
Right,
Right.
exactly.
But let's
make a plan. Let's
make a
attack
plan.
this.
Let's get a financial advisor. Let's pull up your credit score. Let's see how we can take care of this.
Yeah.
Right.
Absolutely.
Because you don't want to enter into a marriage
No.
and he has a financial portfolio like that. You don't want to do
No.
that.
No, especially like, okay, he's got kids to put through college.
Right.
Do you want to tie yourself to that? You know what I mean? Would
Yeah,
that be
I don't
something
mind that as long as he is being.
Well, if he's got financial
Fine.
messiness, because you get sucked into that.
You could, but again, he has to.
Right.
Let me be very clear.
Right. We would have to work on that.
Right.
That's
He'd have to be in a better place.
that's work in progress.
Okay, so we have a question for Cherise.
Okay.
Dwan Russell. He wants to know, do you think those individuals were lying or do you think they were telling the truth?
About what?
About what? Dwan, can you clarify? Because we have a delay, so I'm not sure specifically what he's referring to. Hopefully he'll, we'll put a bookmark in that until you clarify which specific thing you're talking. Dwan likes to stir stuff up.
Okay.
Well.
Keys.
KK says she's found that financially advising in a relationship is an epic fail.
They have to be open.
Would you like to be on this show, Kay?
Right. They have to be open.
Right.
They absolutely have to be open to, because men can be very prideful.
They can be.
They can be really prideful. So again, that's one of those things that, hey, let me, if he's open to my suggestions and, or he has his own plan and I
Right.
see that is working.
Right.
He's got a plan that he is actually executing
Right.
upon.
Yes.
Like it's not just a lip service kind of
Exactly.
thing. Dwan was referring to never wanting to get married again. Do you think they were telling the truth or lying?
Oh,
The guys?
The guys.
I think they were
telling the truth. Oh, absolutely. 1,000%.
But I
telling
would say this. A lot of times they are so hurt behind the divorce that they can't see the forest for the trees.
Right.
But when they meet someone that
The right person.
that marks everything that they need and they see that she is a multiplier, that she's gonna be there she's gonna ride for him, trust and believe he's gonna marry her.
Because he can't help it.
Exactly.
Like, to be clear, there aren't that many women who are going to do that, right?
Right.
Like you probably know quite a few women. They're not interested in being multipliers. They're not interested in. They're interested in what they are receiving.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So
Yeah.
if you find someone who's a multiplier, gentlemen, irrespective of your divorce experience, I think you should
Give it a chance.
Give it a chance. My husband says he's one and done. If this doesn't work, it's a wrap for him. He's just going to be out here. Out in these streets, But I just think it's interesting because until you meet a person, you just don't know what you're going to do. But you have intentions. I mean, everyone, you walk into something with intentions,
Right.
And the way you want to treat people or be
But you
treated.
should always go into a relationship being loyal and honest about not only what you need, but what you desire.
Right. Yeah.
Because I know someone, we've had a conversation. It's a male. He had a girlfriend that she only wanted to have sex one day out the week. Well, he wanted to have sex 7 days out the week. But he held back what he desired and what he needed. So
Okay.
then they started,
Clashing.
clashing.
Right. Yeah.
So you have to be honest.
Yeah.
I mean, you do. I mean, that's a hard one because people evolve into things. You know what I mean? But it's yeah, you can't just say what you want the other person to hear. I mean, but if you're together for a long time, don't you figure that out?
Sometimes.
Yeah, but sometimes people conceal themselves for a long time.
How long does a
Yeah.
representative stay? Right.
Right.
Years?
It
They
could
can.
be. I know someone who, example, she smokes weed, but if she really likes a guy, she won't let him know that she smokes weed every day.
So she'll mask that. How does he not smell it?
She doesn't when they're not together.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm thinking people that are living together. Okay, so Kate Keys has been very, very vocal. We're appreciative. If you find a man that has never been married with no kids and he's not financially stable, i.e., great job, with no savings, would you run? So
Yeah.
is he potentially commitment phobic?
Yeah. Maybe. I don't.
Well, I would say we need to ask questions like,
Yeah.
what's going on with you?
Right. Yeah. What's your story?
What's your
really
story?
going
Like
on?
how are you have no responsibilities and
Right.
still here?
Right.
Because that kind of says you're not responsible.
If they don't
Because
own any real
if you can't take
estate.
care of your
Right.
what happened?
You don't have real estate. You live like in a studio apartment. You have no
But
possessions.
I do know that sometimes men, they don't have because they are giving all their money to their kids.
But
Well, he
she
has
said
no kids.
Oh, no kids. I'm
Yeah,
sorry. No
so
kids.
he had no responsibilities. Maybe it was I was
Oh.
taking care of my parents.
Right.
Okay, maybe. But outside of that, yeah, not
Yeah.
really.
Yeah, Kate Keys says, her ex brought the representative for 6 years,
See?
and people have poor spending habits. That's crazy to me.
Yeah.
I think there's a lot of things you could figure out on the first date that. I mean,
Sometimes.
sometimes,
Yeah.
Like,
Sometimes.
so what I always found interesting is that I never wanted to have kids, right? And so I always knew that, and I would be the queen of the one and done date because somehow it would come up. I don't know how on the first date it would come up. Somehow it would, and I would just be very clear about it. And then the guy would, who normally the men aren't the ones that are trying to bring up the topic of kids, but if you take it away from them, then well, what do you mean you don't want to have any kids?
Yeah.
And so I'd be like, nah, sir, see, I can see right now that you want to have sex and I'm out. Like it would just be, so there's certain things, if you bring up certain topics, there's certain things you can suss out. You can suss out some things about people's finances if you just like really listen to what they share with you. So anyway, well, we're almost at 8. So I want to talk a little bit about how this has been lovely. First of all, thank you guys for being
Thanks
here.
for having me.
Appreciate
For having
it.
us.
Next time you come on, and Kris will be here too. Tell us how can we support you? Where can we find you? What would you like for people to know about you?
Okay.
I am currently practicing at Insights Therapeutic Services out in Homewood. So you can give us a call, look us up on Google us, and that is where I am currently.
Who do you see? Who are your patients?
I see individuals and couples.
Okay. What do you see any trends in couples right now in terms of why they're not like getting along?
Communication.
Communication is really the big thing.
That is communication and yeah, not asking the questions in the beginning. And then they get years into it and it's like we never talked about that.
Yeah, it's like, how did you never talk about that?
And how did this come up?
It was an unspoken rule.
Yeah.
Yep. All right, Cherise, tell us about you.
So I am a life and certified divorce coach. You can find me at coachingthemasses.com, where I am the CEO and founder of the company. I can also be found on Instagram, Divorce Coach CC, Facebook, Sharice Carter, TikTok, Divorce Coach CC, and LinkedIn, Sharice Carter.
Oh, you got the whole coverage.
I try.
Do you ever like to call yourself coachingthemasses.com? Or the masses?
Yeah, but you know what? I really enjoy helping people. And if you reach out to me, we can get something started for you so you can find your new beginning.
Well, these are very evolved women post their divorces, and if anyone's single out there, look, I'm just advertising you both. We're gonna have like maybe a matchmaking thing one of these days, so we'll have to talk about this.
Right.
If you're open to it. But anyway, all right. So when Kris is not here, I end on time. Kris always likes to run over. I'm always reminding him, like, people got things to do. But next time, you know, Kris will be here. He would add some salaciousness. What were you going to say? Our producer, he looked like he was going to say something he's not. Okay, cool. All right, ladies, thank you.
This was
Thank
very
you.
much.
Yes.
Thank you for being here. Peace and grease. We out.